today here with us in Montreal. And I'm a very proud member of Indian community because I have a lot of friends in Indian community, because I'm experienced the same way to integrate this society, along with ladies and gentlemen, Canadian of Indian origin. And I'm very proud of my friends of Indian origin. I brought this love from former United Soviet Union. Soviet Union and India was very close friends. And we were very lucky to have this friendship result. So I will be candidate for Conservative Party in Sri Lanka TV. I believe in the human being, and I believe that each human being is a mission on the earth, and I will follow your example, sir, to make sure that everybody in my riding will make the best to find his place in our country. Thank you.
Now the floor is open for questions.
We are Canadian citizens. So, please tell your families, tell your children, tell your friends, when somebody treats you or calls you immigrant, refuse that word. We are not immigrants, we are Canadian citizens, period.
Good point. I'll leave it up to that. Now, I'm here, let's have a discussion on how you feel. We will not talk about elections. We will not talk about this, but we'll talk about presuming. And our state at this time is that we will be governing, come after March 22nd, after the budget. So,
There is one question.
go ahead.
Manjeet, come this side. It's okay, you need this mic. Come this side. You need this mic.
For the information of those who don't know me, I'm Manjeet Singh Natwal, the publisher of Desi Times weekly newspaper. Honorable Deepak Aroy, President Rich Sehgal, and Vice President Vikram Bhatti, and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Please bear with me, I just have two issues to raise today. The first issue is that can the Canadian government have some mechanism to support Indians, Indo-Canadians, whose properties have been usurped by relatives, by corrupt practices in India. I informed Minister Kenny about this, but he did not know that this was a serious issue. But believe me, if you ask all those people here, many people here have this problem, and they feel it is a serious issue, a serious problem. And that, but he did agree that rampant corruption was a problem in certain circles in India. So I would suggest that something be done about this, and the Desi Times has taken a lead by starting a petition to the government to look into this issue. So if the organizers will allow, we'd like to have the petition here too. We have already a lot of signatories, but those who would like to sign the petition to ask the government to look into this problem seriously. Second, in the new budget, there are many policies of the government which South Asians are pleased with. For example, protecting families, being tough on crime, and supporting religious freedom. But there's a criticism that by certain people, certain circles, that your support mechanisms for new Canadians has been severely trimmed. Self-help groups have lost the crutches that are crucial to carry out their much-needed work in and the communities. So the new Canadians are feeling the, what do you call that, the cutback in support. What is your response to that, sir? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for raising these two questions. Let me be first and foremost be clear on question number one. Question number one deals with the foreign government. It is not the responsibility of the government of Canada. The government of Canada cannot do anything when it's another country. It is the responsibility. India is a sovereign country with its own parliament, with its own rules of law, with its own thing. There are problems, and these problems that you have highlighted are problems in a sovereign country. The government of Canada does not have the authority, neither does it. It can tell another government what to do with its own citizens or anything. Having said that, the Indian Prime Minister was here, and the Indian government ambassador, High Commissioner is here. You should directly take that issue with the government of India. They have an NRI cell, because I know about this thing to address the issues. Whether they are addressing it or not is up to them. I met the Ravi Wailar, the overseas minister, who is now their Pravasi Bharatiya issues. They have set up an NRI cell in their own country to address the issues you're talking about. I would suggest that is now. I'm seriously telling you this. If you have a petition, don't petition the government of Canada. Petition the government of India. Authority give it to them. The government of Canada has no authority to interfere into a sovereign country. Right? I mean, just as a parliamentary secretary for foreign affairs, I'm telling you that. Let's have an effective issue. Now, coming to your second question about settlement services, let me be very clear. Money has not, and I repeat this, has not been reduced for settlement services. Okay? But there has been a change. Okay? The change today is that there are more immigrants going to Western Canada, to the other part of the world. Traditionally, they used to come to Eastern part of the world. Now you find that the West is attracting more and more immigrants. So the monies have not been cut, but have been increased, but it is now reflecting the change of reality in Canada. And so money is now moving, which did not move originally to the West to address the needs of the new immigrants, and the money is going on. So, yes, the government is completely committed to help the new Canadians, and the money has not been reduced. Yes, feel free.
Club-Deepak of Aroy, your family out here. So whether all our candidates get elected, and they will get elected, you'll always be welcome. It's in continuation with Manjeet's question. I was secretary of the National Students Union of India since its foundation, and Mr. Ravi was the convener of that one, and I'm still in touch with Mr. Ravi. So you can call his cell, he picks up his cellular, he's very efficient, there is no long discussions, etc. You can send in something today, you can get an answer within a week, 10 days with him also. And if you want to approach Mr. Ravi, I can help you with that. And the other point is maybe some mechanism, maybe Canada can set up some, no we can't, okay, so you know better.
This is the Conservative Party of Canada. We are here to discuss Canadian issues. Let's talk about the government of Canada, Canadian issues. That's what I'm here. If you want to talk with issues that relate to India, please talk to the Indian High Commissioner. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
I don't need a mic.
No.
All right.
You got good words.
Yeah, so I have two main questions. I think there are two things that are striking when looking at this room. Number one is the lack of women, and number two is the lack of my generation. What mechanisms would you have in place to have these inclusions? And do you think that by recent acts of the Conservative government, you're necessarily isolating those two populations? Let's say, for example, by not including reproductive health and the maternal health initiative, or by slashing the environmental budget by over 50%?
Let me address first the issue of women in this room. Right? Let me tell you, we go very much out of our way to ensure there is gender equality in the Conservative Party of Canada. Right? I hope you join the Conservative Party of
Oh,
Canada.
I'm a member, actually.
There you go. So, may I suggest to you, you get your friends and everything else here. I mean, so you don't have to be here. You have to. We'll be more than happy to do. We have my colleagues, Rona Andros, everybody else who's stand of the women. I will get them to come here, address the issue that you want to talk. Honestly, we also have the young conservative clubs all over the country, in the universities, for the younger people to be involved. I periodically speak at the universities where they are. So yes, all effort. No, you're absolutely right. One of the issues that I'm talking about here is listening to you. Right? If you don't listen to the girl, to the females and to the young, then what policies are we going to do? So you hit the nail on the head, and that is absolutely right. And I think even putting my own candidates, my friends out here, during their part of the campaign that they're doing, they could reach out to you people and get your feedback as well as your thing. Right? Now, so, no, the Conservative Party is wide open. Why they're not here? Mr. Singh, you make a note of it. Make a note of it, so next time you contact her and you get these things out there. Second, the issue about reproduction, no matter in the child maternity district, right? This issue has risen up, and it has now been decided within the level of where would it be most effective. Okay? And that, like I have gone to Africa University, President Kikwete would be coming here in about a month's time for the second meeting with President Harper, not President Harper, sorry, Prime Minister Harper, about the child maternity. The initiative that was put forward by Ban Ki-moon that came out of the G20. So that will be done, and it will move on. Your other question was the reduction of 50% in the environment. There has been no reduction in the environment. What has happened here is the Canadian government's position that you cannot achieve climate targets if the major polluters don't do it. I mean, at the end of the day, no country is willing to do it because they say it is going to hurt their economy. Why would we suddenly get up and say we were going to do that? However, tremendous amount of money has been invested in science and technology and research. For example, I just did a tour of the oil sands. Told the oil companies over there that it is in their longer term interest that they better get their act together and do put money in science and technology to ensure that the carbon footprint is reduced. There is a voluntary carbon footprint. Everybody agrees it has to be, including Canada. We are willing to sign. We are willing to reduce ours. In the meantime, we are moving in that direction as well. At this current time, there is no international treaty. There is an international treaty, but it's loosey-loosey because countries like China and India have not signed on that. But we will continue working. It's an issue, and it will remain there. And Canada is very cognizant of the fact that we have a responsibility towards that. You have a question?
My question is
thank you very much, I'm a member of the Pakistani community. My question is all because Mr. Aroy tells us we cannot use the word I am dash dash dash. So my question is regarding I am dash dash dash. That is there a specific policy for the Pakistan or the Bangladesh nations for the new I am dash dash policy, because you are related to the same thing. So because after since conservative government came in the power, it seemed that there is a lot of mess for the new people who want to come to Canada from those countries. Thank you.
Dash, dash, dash. See what you did? Dash, dash, dash. Listen, the laws of this country are very clear. There is no discrimination. Part and parcel of this country. Therefore, the immigration policy cannot discriminate against one country against another country, period. Okay? It would not be accepted in the, as a law of the country. Okay? It would be subject to serious challenge. Therefore, in Canada, all Canadian laws have to meet the test of equality, human rights, as well as the Charter of Rights. Therefore, there is no such thing that there is a discrimination against one country, another country, another country. Now, talking about a mess, I don't know what you mean by mess, but this is the government right now, which is calling the highest number of immigrants in this country. Okay. It's called the highest number. Sure, there are always adjustments to the factor that needs to need the market analysis, the Canadian economy, to our needs. Let me be very clear. We are all here immigrants because but the fact remains. Immigrant policy, the policy of the country, what it needs, not what other countries do. Therefore, this immigration policy is designed to make sure that those newcomers who come here are adaptable, right? Not only adaptable, but contribute to the country. And so it is a key element of the whole immigration policy of every part of the world is, does it contribute to the well-being of Canada? And now, contribution is in all forms. One cannot say contribution is only in certain forms. So the key element to a successful immigrant policy is that immigration should be beneficial to the country. That is the basis. But it's not a mess. We have the highest number of immigrants coming into this country. Now, you may talk about people who have applied for refugees, whose claimants have failed and everything. That is a system. You cannot abuse the system, and that is the issue. Okay, right. Who's next? Come on, I'm enjoying myself here. We're having a great conversation. Go ahead.
I know that health is a provincial issue, but we've got a Canada Health Act. And is there something the federal government is going to do in the next budget, in the next 2 years, with national standards? It seems to me that it's extremely unacceptable to Canadian when we all pay taxes, but somebody can get hip replacement or cancer surgery done with a 2-week or a 3-week wait time in your province. And they no, 3 months.
My problem.
How long?
My problem is take quite a long time.
How long?
Well, I don't have to.
Okay. It's not a year and a half. It's not a year and a half that is in Quebec, for hip replacement number one. And secondly, okay, it's extremely unfair that if you're a Canadian in Quebec or you're in a poor province, you don't have access to the latest cancer drugs. This to me seems extremely unfair that you have different standards of care and we all pay taxes to the federal government. So will your colleague do something about that? And the second issue I'd like to raise with you is the lack of care for Indigenous Canadians on reserves. There's extremely high incidence of alcoholism, extremely high incidence of suicide, and diabetes and chronic rampant. And it's been that way for the last 30 years, and those statistics are not changing. So, and that's a federal responsibility, not a provincial responsibility. So there going to be some changes.
Good, thank you. If you're a doctor, you should know this. Right? You should know that the federal government's responsibility under the National Health Act is to do the transfer of the knowledge, right? To ensure there's transfer to the provinces to provide them with health. While you're paying taxes to the federal government, you're also paying taxes to the provincial government. Right? Now, we have come after this thing and said, we are going to put a minimum standard, right, waiting time. The Minister of Health has already done that, that we expect all provinces. Now, remember, I'm going to use the word carefully that you want to understand. Expect. Okay? We don't order, expect them to follow this stuff. The reason for that is very simple. And I can tell you, provinces take it very, very seriously. If I open my mouth, all in smoke smell. It's like somebody's thrown a bomb or something. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You elected me as a member of parliament. You elect at the same time your what do you call it, your MLAs? Right. MLAs, right? Because in Alberta they call MLAs. And in Ontario it's called MPPs. They are elected with the same responsibility to answer to you. All of these questions asked you. Why am I making this? That is, it is very true that unfortunately the level of services each province is giving is very different. I agree with you. My mother just moved from Ontario to be with me in Alberta, and she's finding, and you will not believe this, that Alberta has got less services for the seniors than people in Ontario. And she's just shocked. So yes, there is a discrepancy. Yes, there is. But this is something that you have to hold your provincial governments accountable. They will come seeking votes for you, then you go after them. There was something else you asked about the Aboriginal people. It is no question one of the areas that is of serious concern to the government of Canada and to all governments. Every attempt by all successive governments has been made to address that issue. Yes, alcoholism is very strong. Yes, abuse is very strong. So, the problem is the Indian Act, not the Indian Act. Okay? The Indian Act, the treaties, give the power to the bands to run the affairs of those reserves. There is a massive amount of transfer of money under the Indian Act that goes to the bands to look after all these things, to look after the social services, to look after. So the band council, which is elected by the band, are responsible for delivering those services. When they don't deliver those services, you have problems. Right? So they come on. We have just, my colleague Kelly Brock had just passed a private member's bill